What's up, Metal Summoners? It is so great to see you guys as always. Kicking off your weekend in the middle of the week, back on your island of misfit toys with myself and Angel. As always, it's going to be an absolutely great show, great conversations, and a really, really good time. Like I said, Metal Summoners, we really appreciate you guys because you guys are the fuel when it comes to this plane. You guys tune in, you rock out, you ask great questions to the guests, and you're very interactive. And that's all that Angel and I can ask of you guys because we really appreciate all the courtesies that you extend to our guests as they're extending the courtesies of hanging out with us. And we're going to jump right into it because we got a lot of fun stuff that we get to talk about. But Matt Bissonette, first and foremost, welcome to the Metal Summit, sir, and thank you so much for giving us some of your evening.
Guys, thanks for having me, man. That was a pretty heavy intro, man. I feel like answering every question.
So our friend Chad designed that for us. He did a great editing video for us, and then he's actually the one who delivered the vocals, the music on our old intro. It was he did it as well, but it was more on the lighter side. But he really went heavy on this one. So it was like, you know what? Let's just turn, but this one goes to 11.
It goes way to 11, and it scared me. And pretty soon we'll be watching that movie, right? Spinal Tap's coming out.
Yeah, that we will. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, man, we'll jump right into it and have a little bit of fun. And being that you are an alumnus of the band, one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of start off with this is it was very, very cool because myself, Angel, as well as my girlfriend who was there, got to see it live, is that David's come back out and gotten and hit the stages again a little bit. He played the M3 festival. So I just wanted to start off with that being very cool that Angel and I and Megan got to see him live. And how do you look back at your tenure on that? Because you came in, during after Skyscraper, the tour.
Right. Yeah. It was kind of a crazy thing. I mean, I was a staff writer for writing songs with Island Music here in California, and I just moved to LA, and I was here about for 4 or 5 years. And I used to go see those guys play. I remember going to see Greg, Billy, and Steve play up in Fresno. I took a buddy of mine, and we were just it was just like this crazy circus, and we were just going, wow, that's amazing. I don't think I could ever do that, but man, that's pretty great. I was telling my brother, I was just going, man, that's like a whole other level of lights and crazy stuff. And then they kind of asked me to help them write some songs. So I wrote a song on Skyscraper record and some on the album after that. And when it happened where Billy decided to take off, it was kind of like Dave asked Greg, how's it with your brother? I know you guys have played together all the time. So how would that be? And then he goes, yeah, so just come in and do it. So it wasn't like having to go through a million auditions or anything like that. It just kind of rolled in my lap, and it was very, very cool and frightening at the same time, man. I remember I tell people all the time, my first gig got out there. I can't remember where it was at, but it was my first total rock experience of the lights coming down and then and everything goes crazy from the first song into this double time shuffle song and Steve jumping all over the place. And I just remember, what am I doing here right now? Man, this is like crazy. And I remember going, man, I hope this goes okay, because I love Billy. Billy's like one of my favorite bass players, and nobody does Billy like Billy. It's just can't really cop that stuff. So I just remember kind of being freaked out. First song, first chorus, this nunchuck Chinese star comes whipping at my head while I'm singing. It goes right at my head and it goes boing and hits my guitar strap, and it's wobbling, and I'm stuck in there deep. I'm thinking, these people are going to kill me, man. This is like out of control. Took the thing off, and I remember praying, just going, God, help me out here, man, because I don't want to die on stage here. This is crazy. And nothing ever happened like that again. It was like a one-time initiation kind of crazy thing. And then it was just, a couple of years of just having a blast out there and getting to know Steve and Brett Tuggle, our keyboard player who just passed away, and hanging out with my brothers. It was a great experience, and playing with Dave was crazy, man. Just the hardest thing for me was when he would start doing the crazy poles and swinging things, and you're just kind of trying to stay out of the way. I mean, it was amazing. It made me appreciate Michael Anthony all those years, probably dodging out, all that stuff. But it was a blast, and I'll never forget it.
That's awesome. Well, and one of the things that I love to ask guests, especially at a time when like videos were as powerful as they were back then, is their experience, filming a music video. Because I always just find that so interesting. And you did, you've got plenty of music video, experience. But then, of course, with somebody like with David, things like like Paradise were all over MTV and all of the channels that showed music videos at the time. And what do you remember about shooting the music video? Because we know how repetitive and everything that they are. But how do you look at shooting music videos? Do you enjoy it?
It's kind of like when I have people come over my house to check out my studio, right? I'm in the studio right now, and they think it's going to be this thing, like music just magically appears, and they go, now we're going to work on the drum sound. We're going to do this. And by 15 minutes, they're like, I got to go. They get a little bit like, this is just too much. The process of video stuff is 10 times even more just sitting around, hanging out. Mostly I just remember the smell of the smoke that they draft in, for all the shots and everything. That was my first reaction, was just like, man, this stuff is pretty potent. And we saw Dave's video footage that he did on Skyscraper on Just Like Paradise when he was doing the mountain thing. And we were just like, wow, man, this thing's going to be pretty cool. So he just had us do a live performance thing, just, lip syncing to the song in Long Beach. And that was my first thing that I ever did with the band, was just immediately do that video. And it was pretty crazy, man. It was one of those kind of pinch yourself going, what am I doing here right now? But it is a lot of sitting around. It isn't what everybody thinks it's going to be, and I've done a ton of videos over the year. Now it's kind of like, everybody just takes an iPad and whatever, just shoot themselves and throw in the video. But that was like the makeup and the thing, and it was pretty extravagant. And same thing like with Satriani's videos too. We were getting done up and hanging out there for a long time, and 12-hour days. So thankfully we don't have to do that as much these days, unless it's like a serious production or whatever. But yeah, it was those are long days, but fun.
Absolutely, for sure. And one final thing for me in this segment before I kick it over to Angel and let him take it away is I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about getting to work with Jason Becker, because he's always been so renowned for his guitar playing, but also just being a great musical mind. And of course, his situation now is very, very unfortunate, but his ability to still be writing music at this time is absolutely incredible. But how was it, being working with, being in the band together, but also just getting to know Jason?
Yeah, we were when Steve left the band to do other things, it was like, okay, we need to get a guy that's going to replace. It's like, who do you get to replace Eddie Van Halen with Dave's band? And you get Steve, you get somebody crazy, and then you go, well, who are you going to get to replace this guy? And they went through a bunch of guys, and everybody was amazing. They'd come over, we'd be in Dave's basement, just hanging out, listening to a bunch of guys. And there was a lot of amazing players that came in audition. And then they got this tape from Varney from his label. And it was Jason. He's like this 18-year-old kid, 18 or 19. And it's just this crazy stuff. And it was like, he looks cool. It's great. Let's check him out. He came to the house, and it was like he had songs, because we were kind of needing some other songs, and he's bringing in stuff. So it was kind of an obvious choice. Let's go for this guy. And the sad thing is that we were, we got to rehearsing, and we got to be buddies and hanging out. And we would go to Dave's house early before rehearsal and throw the football, Jason and I. And Jason was a big Joe Montana guy. He used to wear his jersey all the time. And Jason was a great athlete, man. He's throwing the ball, running around, dodging out Dave's his crazy dogs that were running around. And I remember one day Jason just goes, man, I feel this pinch on my leg, man. I don't know what's going on. It turned out to be the situation, and it just deteriorated fast. And it was really hard, man, because, we went up to Vancouver to do the record with Bob Rock up in Vancouver. And they put us in top of the strip club because Dave wanted it to have this urban, dirty feel for the record. So they put us in this club, this hotel. It was the 6th floor, and there was like strippers walking around and hanging out. We would keep our doors open because it was so smoky in the room. you had to air out your room. And I remember my room was right across from Jason. And I remember Jason just got diagnosed and he had to start giving himself shots. And I remember looking through the door and seeing him, and he was just sitting there going, I got to get this first one. And he was just, man, he was just freaked out taking that first shot. And fortunately, Steve Hunter was playing rhythm guitar, who was actually a registered nurse at the same time. Thank God.
Oh, wow.
So he kind of helped Jason through that time and helped him out with parts. And he was starting to already kind of lose command a little bit halfway through the studio. And it was just hard to watch, man. And, but Jason being Jason, I mean, he, you know, after I went to visit him a few years ago, and first thing when I was there with his dad, Gary, Jason's like looking at you. He can't move. He can't talk. And he's just looking at you with his eyes just beaming. And I would ask him a question, and then he would start rolling his eyes to his dad, to Gary. They had this whole alphabet thing worked out where he'd go A over here, C, D. It's this amazing thing. And it was fast. And that's how Jason is, man. He and his dad figured that out. And that's what he's doing now with, I mean, a couple of years later, he's doing musical scores with his eyes and, you know, having his friends help him and recording some of the best music he's ever done, man. So a true testament to the will of that guy. I keep saying kid because he was younger than me, but just an amazing guy, man. It's just a very sad story, but in the same time, he's made the most of it, man. He's got a great family and he's doing okay.
Definitely, for sure. Have you seen the documentary that they did on?
Yeah,
it was so cool. It was like really interesting. I remember just sitting back and really kind of as the saying goes, I kind of getting lost in the fantasy. But of course, it's a real life documentary. But it was so enthralled watching this situation and descriptions of everything.
Yeah, it really is a story of hope, and it is a story of other people going through that same situation. He's been a role model for just being a great guy through it all. I mean, I can't imagine not being in control of what you're, you know, being able to walk out that door and go for a walk. That guy was an athlete, and he was, you know, he was young, and it was just really hard to watch, but, you know, special place for him in heaven someday. And I just love that guy. In fact, we should call him up.
Hey, absolutely. We're always happy to do that for sure. Be more than happy to find a way to get Jason involved with the show and stuff with his family. Definitely would love to do that sometime. Angel, my friend, let's kick it up to you.
I have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
When I heard the squirts, my mind was in the gutter.
Your mind was in the gutter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So definitely want to talk about the new single.
Okay.
From the album 3. So just want to know, how did that come together?
Well, we were Rick Springfield's rhythm section around 2003, something like that, and we would always do sound checks and be playing like this. And we started goofing off at my house, at my studio, and writing for TV and movies and stuff like that, doing soundtrack stuff because it paid a ton of money back then before everybody started giving their music away. We just started writing, and then we kind of came onto this sound, finished the whole album, and then we trapped Springfield in the airport. And we go, hey man, why don't you let us open up for you? And it'll be great for you because it's the same gear for your band, and you know you'll sound that much better. And he said, okay, let's do that. And I go, well, is it okay to sell T-shirts? Okay. Is it okay to sell our CDs? Okay. Hats. You know, it was like he just let us do anything we wanted. And it was pretty amazing when I think about it. He just kind of opened the door for us to do that. So we did 2 records about 20 years ago. And then we just decided during COVID, when everybody was kind of sitting around doing nothing, we just went online with each other and just started writing stuff. And, you know, 10 songs popped up. We had a couple of songs that we had from years ago kind of laying around, rhythm tracks and stuff. But it was, you know, it was a great process of just writing and giving, like, I'll write a song and send it over and they'll do their thing, you know. And was great about that is, like, when I play guitar on demos and stuff, it's pretty lame. And then when I give it to George, who's an amazing sound guitar player guy, he just makes it into these things, you know. So it's great to see things get better. In the old days, I remember sometimes sending tracks and it would be worse, you know. The drums would be kind of like a weird beat, but Roger always plays crazy drum beats that aren't like your typical straight ahead drum beats. It was just a fun process to hear the songs. You know, it took a while to do it because everybody kind of moved on with their lives and stuff and had family stuff, but it kind of came together and we're real happy about it, you know, and hopefully the music will get your mind out of the gutter, my friend.
I mean, the other side of paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, summertime, that's all you think about is being at the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't even remember. I mean, what that song is actually about. It's kind of funny. Everybody asks, like, what does your song mean or whatever? I remember John Lennon used to say, they say, what does that song mean? And he would just go, well, what does it mean to you? Because really, when you write a song, everyone's going to interpret it whatever way they hear it. You hear the beach, you know, with the video kind of, Roger did the video and it kind of points to, you know, being married and being miserable and wishing you weren't married or whatever. It's kind of, I don't really remember the exact concept of what the song meant, but it kind of is interpreted a million different ways. You see the beach. I like it. I like yours.
I love the beach. But like an interesting story is that the song came about like 15 years ago, and you guys found it and re-recorded it, which is really fascinating. I'm always fascinated by the songwriting stories of how that song kind of came back to life.
Well, that one, we were on the road with Springfield, and I remember Rick. We were writing together for Rick's new record that we did, and we were in Milwaukee doing. We had a week-long gig at a casino. So during the day, Rick and I would write together, and then one day Roger and George and I went to George's friend because he grew up in the Milwaukee area, and this guy had a full-on studio in his basement, drums and everything. So we would just go there and just track stuff during the day. We kind of came up with this idea. I mean, it was kind of Foo Fighter-ish before the Foo Fighters came out. It was kind of that kind of a sound, and we just kind of went back. When we started recording this new one, we were kind of going, is there anything in the vaults that we had that we could use to get some propulsion on this, writing process? We found that one, and then we found the song "When You Die." That was also recorded in that basement, just the rhythm tracks, and it was just sections. So we just took like a couple sections and placed them around and just came up with different ideas. It really kind of was like surgery writing, taking pieces of other things. Most of the songs are written from scratch. Just, well, I'll start something, or Roger will start something, or George will start something. But it just takes that spark of an idea, and sometimes it would be the idea of a lyric first, and then it would be, the music. Like one of the songs, we got really inspired by Yes, the Trevor Rabin kind of stuff that they were doing. So there's certain things that we all love that we kind of chased on this record, because it's not like it was 20 years ago and that we're trying to be, pop stars or anything like that. It's at this point in life, we're just doing it for fun. So that takes so much pressure off of having to have 10 songs like in the old days that sound like the Squirts or sounds like Foo Fighters or whatever. So we kind of tried to make every song completely different. And we really wanted to focus on bridges, because bridges of songs are just, they're gone, So every song, I think except for one, has like a bridge that just goes completely left field, and it's completely unrelated to the song. And then when the song comes back in, it's kind of like you go on a vacation for the bridge and come back. So that's always fun for me, is, like the Beatles are the king of the bridge, But yeah, we just kind of started little ideas, but most of it was done by scratch, See notes down there. Saw Matt play bass. Woo! Did you throw the star? Did you throw the DK Ravel? Did you throw that Chinese star at me?
Sniper. That
DK, man, I never trusted that guy.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome, man. So, Matt, one of the things that's also super cool to ask you about as well is you had this amazing tenure recently with Elton John. And how does how did that opportunity come about? And I mean, what was it like with like that kind of a spectacle? Because that type of show and that kind of showmanship is got similarities, but overall though stylistically is quite different than, you know, a lot of like, for example, this show's fans that might be familiar with more of like the rock type stuff that comes out of the 80s versus something that Sir Elton John does is a very, very stylistically different performance.
Right. The one thing in common with all these people, and you know, people that I've worked with, and just, you know, famous people that are really good at what they do, is they're just amazing entertainers. It's just different kind of entertaining. Dave does his thing, Joe does his things, and the other guys I do have their thing. And Elton's kind of a play the piano. The songs are the songs. I mean, Elton's songs are just great, and Bernie writes great lyrics. And the crazy thing for me lately is to play songs with bands and look at the crowd and see people crying, you know, because they remember where they were when they first heard that song, you know. And that's the thing, when I go see a band and they play a hit, I just go, please play it exactly like you did on my record and my 8-track tape in my car. I know you can sing and riff and stuff, but please sing it, because I just want to go back in time. So I get that, you know. And I noticed that with Elton. I mean, there'd be people just weeping, especially towards the end when it was the farewell tour. People were just holding on. It was kind of emotional and stuff. And just being out there with Elton or Dave or anybody like that, you kind of just ride on their coat wings because they're the guys. I mean, I love singing and playing and writing and fronting a band, talking to the crowd, but I'm not like that. I mean, those guys, you know, the guys that really do it, and that's their lives. I mean, I used to think like with Rick Springfield, it's like when I've had bands before, we're kind of have bands where we try to act like rock stars. Then there's guys like Neil Girardo or Rick Springfield, guys, they just are rock stars. You know, they are what they are because they haven't been anything else. I come home and play sessions on people's records, or I write my own stuff, or I do this. And it's kind of a balance for me that I like, that I don't have to deal with being famous. You know, my goal is to be famously unknown. Just have somebody say, oh yeah, that guy could play bass okay, or that guy can sing. I mean, I have no preconceived idea of trying to take over the world talent-wise or anything like that. But those guys do. I mean, that is their, and when they're not on top and they're not doing it, they get bummed, you know, because that's their lifeblood. So it's neat to ride on the back of that and see these guys, you know, and it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of stress for these guys, but somehow they figure it out, you know. Angel left the auditorium.
It's all right. He'll be back. When you
Hey, do you really like that Angel guy?
What's up?
Do you really like that Angel guy?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally do. But anything you want to, now's the time.
I don't know, man. That door looks pretty crazy. There's like
It does.
bullet holes in those.
No, for sure. With the stuff that you do, you know, with Kevin currently, you know, coming off of REO into his solo band now, you know, just like you had said before, I mean, the showmanship, you know, being entertainers, you know, being that you also have your own personal music that you're able to front as well. How do you look at guys also like Kevin who, you know, they play the keyboards and they play piano, but they also have such a genuine stint right in front of the crowd, you know, right, being such a focal point?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we just came off the road last week. I'm going back out again next week. And that's another band that when we play certain songs, people are crying. I mean, they're looking and like they're holding on to those memories and stuff. I mean, Kevin is a guy that loves a good song. He just works a song to the ground. So funny story, we have my brother and I and my friend Paul Dexter, we have a show on YouTube called The Song in a Day Show. It's a YouTube channel. Every day we wake up and we meet at a coffee shop and we go, okay, in 12 hours, it's like 9 in the morning. We're going to come up with an idea of a song right now. And then we're going to, whatever, it's going to be a heavy song or it's going to be a ballad or whatever. By the end of the day, we're going to hire players to, you know, contribute to this song and singers to sing it. And by midnight, it has to be mixed. And it's all filmed like a Seinfeld coffee show or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And it's really fun. but the thing is, I mean, it's stressful because you got to get this thing done by midnight. That's the point of the whole thing. That means mixing. That means getting players and doing it online and using every tool you can to get that thing done. And I remember we had Kevin do the show with Dave Amato and Derek, the keyboard player from the band. And Kevin was so into it that he goes, man, this is a really cool song. Can we sit on this and come back tomorrow and really come up with some stuff? And I go, the show is called A Song in a Day. It has to be done today, because Kevin would work it for 4 weeks to make it perfect. I don't have that skill to analyze 3 words or whatever, but he does. And when when the High Infidelity record came out, those songs are like spot on lyrically and musically. And that's kind of where his heart is that honing in a song. I don't have that as much. I wish I did, but it's pretty amazing to see him work those angles. I see another friend there.
That's my beautiful girlfriend Megan, who swung by.
Hey, Megan.
Hello.
What's up?
Nothing.
I'm a big coffee guy myself. Matt, are you a coffee drinker?
I am. I mean, I have to admit, like when I go on the road, like to Europe and stuff, I've kind of fallen in love with Starbucks, because I know coffee snobs go, oh, Starbucks like that. But that kind of held me together when I was like in China or something, or some country I didn't know anything. There was always a Starbucks, and I knew how to say mocha, and I knew what I was going to get. So I love different kind of coffee shops and stuff. The thing that bums me out about certain coffee shops is some of them just aren't that good, and you order something and it's just like, oh man, I wish I went to Starbucks. So anyway, I love going to coffee shops, and I love hanging out and just sitting there out on the road. I mean, when I like out with Kevin, I'll wake up in the morning and I'm going to walk 10 miles today. Every day I try and walk 10 miles. I'm going to find the farthest Starbucks, and that's my point that I walk to, and then walk back, try and get my miles. So Starbucks has kind of become a friend. And we did a solo record for my brother called Warning Will Robinson. And there's a song on there called Starbucks is My American Embassy. Basically, because when you're on the road and you're in another country, you just go there and you're safe, you know? So you're a coffee guy.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. I'm a pretty just straight up, like, you know, cream and sugar kind of person. I try not to go like too over the top when it comes to like sugar and stuff, but I do tend to like slightly like sweeter creamers and stuff. So like the creamer that I keep in the fridge is it's the International Delight. I think it's called like Sweet and Creamy. It's in like a red container, but I like that because it'll take a little bit of the bite off. But then I don't need to add like sugar in the coffee also.
Right.
You know, I'm like kind of a dark roast person. I like the coffee to be pretty pretty stiff, but I'm not a coffee black drinker. Like I need a little bit of a cutting agent in there personally, to take a little bit of like the bitter, a little bit of the edge off. I haven't developed my palate enough to be able to just pour and just go. I still need a little mixer in there.
I love the thought that you thought this through, man. This is pretty intense.
I love coffee. Like Megan, bless her heart, is not a coffee person. So she lives vicariously through me.
Hey, Megan.
When it comes to coffee.
Megan.
Yes.
Is he crazy when he drinks a couple of cups of coffee?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
That's how we get things done.
That's how we roll.
Absolutely, for sure. So I'm gonna when you were talking about the show, it triggered a question that Angel and I ask a lot. So I'm actually going to take it from him, and then Angel, go ahead and take it away. Also, after this is considering that your show is a song in a day, and you have to go by those guidelines, and you're talking about how Kevin will just tweak and work. Right. The question that is often asked on this show is, how do you know when a song is done?
That's a great question. I mean, well, with this show, it's not like we're trying to change the universe and the perfect song. It's just a song in a day. So because there's no parameters of trying to get it on a radio show, like first day we had Rick Springfield sang the theme song, and we kind of wanted to make it like a Rasta, punk kind of a song. And it kind of just, when you write a lot and you're playing a lot, you kind of stumble into ideas and you just make definite decisions. I mean, we don't sit around and go, Okay, what about this feel? We just kind of go, that feel fine, let's go, because it's kind of an assembly line. So usually by noon, if we don't have an idea of where we're at, we're in trouble, and we know it's not going to be good. But we kind of have a parameter. Like we hired Ellis Hall, who was an amazing blind organ player guy in LA, and we knew that he could sing the heck out of a funk song and play clavinet and organ and stuff. So we hired him, and that was kind of just easy because he makes everything sound good with his vocals, And we had bunches of different guys that were, just brought their talent to the thing and made it easier once we got into the room. But I think the point about trying to get it done in a day, the pressure is off because we're not trying to make it a hit song. We're just trying to make it a song that we like. And that's the beauty, I think, of, I'm 64, just turned 64 a couple of days ago.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you very much. We'll have a coffee together. And,
yes.
and it's just kind of about writing songs that I want to listen to. Like when I listen to the Squirts record, I just kind of like it because it's positive and it's not like we're trying to recreate the wheel. They're just simple songs, and they are what they are. I'm getting to the point where I can't listen to certain kind of music anymore, and it's kind of a struggle the older I get to listen to music at all. It's kind of like I listen to talk radio in my car or orchestra music or not. I just get kind of fried out on music sometimes, especially when I'm writing a lot, and I don't want to be influenced a lot when I'm writing. When I hear, I physically have written a couple of songs that I heard on the radio that I was subconscious, and it was almost the exact song as I heard on the radio, and could have been sued like crazy. And because I know that my ear just goes to something. If I like it, I'll think it's my idea. So I kind of try and keep a little distance from that. But to answer your question, a long thing is, we don't really know if it's a good song until at the end of the show, we put together a video. We edit it. It takes a couple of weeks to edit the video and everything, but it's like a lyric video of the song. And then it shows all the memories throughout the day of where we started from. That's when I know if the song is pretty good, because you feel an emotion of like, oh yeah, that was great. That is almost kind of sad, and that day is over with, and all these things happen. It's kind of like start with nothing, a coffee, and it builds and builds and builds, and then you mix it, and then you watch the video and you go, that was a day of my life. I may not get another day tomorrow, but that day was pretty cool. So we've got there's 8 videos out right now on it, and we're filming more, but it's a fun show, man. So if you get a chance to watch it, it's called The Song in the Day Show.
Absolutely, 100%. Angel, let's kick it back up to you. But also, Metal Summoners, we want to let you guys know that we do want to respect Matt's schedule. He is on limited time this evening, so we definitely want to keep that in mind. So it is going to be last call for alcohol, or in this case, last call for a cup of coffee. So anything that you guys want to ask Matt while we have him, go ahead and pump them into the comments. Brian, we do see that you've got questions up there, and Metal Summoners, you're always welcome, of course, to ask our talent anything that you want to know about their career, what they've got coming up. But just a reminder, because of the limited time, it is last call for your cup of coffee. So this is when you want to make sure you get those into the comments. Go ahead, my guy.
All right, here's a question for my stepson. I didn't know he was my stepson.
Oh, Brian.
Well, then again, damn, there's a lot of things I don't remember, so he could be. I don't know. This is Brian's question. You play with Ringo. If you got to spend a day with John Lennon, what will you talk about and play?
If I got to spend a day with John Lennon, what would I talk about?
And play, yep.
Well, I don't know exactly what the condolences is, because Ringo is an amazing drummer, and I get to record with him all the time at his house. It was funny. I was at Ringo's house about 3 or 4 months ago recording, and he sat right next to me for an hour and a half while we recorded my bass part. And when I played with him before, I've never wanted to pepper him with Beatle questions because I didn't want to be a geek, but he let me ask him a bunch of questions, and he talked about John a lot and about what they would do in the hotel rooms. And because Greg and I saw the Beatles play in 1966 in Detroit. We were only I was 5 years old. And I remember we were walking up on stage with Ringo one time to do a concert, and he looked at me kind of like, go ahead and ask me a question. I know you want to. And we were walking up on stage, and we were walking behind the speakers, and it was a song like a Beatles song playing like this. And I go, Ringo, how did you ever hear Paul's bass when you're playing? I mean, you guys couldn't even hear each other. How did you hear what he was playing? He goes, I never heard him. I just watched his ass. Which cracked me up. It was like those guys were so good, they didn't even hear each other and they could play. So, I mean, as far as John, man, I mean, John, I would ask John, it's kind of like the same thing with Elton and Bernie when they would write songs. When I was learning the songs for the road to go out with Elton, it was hard to, it wasn't like stock songs. There was always weird bar phrases that would go over the bar and not be like usual music. It would kind of throw a loop, and it wasn't normal. That's because Bernie would write the words and give them to Elton. He'd put them on his piano and write the music to these words. So musical form goes out the window. So it's not easy to remember those songs, and they're just different. I think the same with John. I would ask John, how did you come up with Me and My Monkey? Or how did you come up with these songs that are time changes that when you hear them, you've heard them so much, they don't sound like time changes, but when you write them out, there's 3-4 bars, 2-4 bars. It's complex stuff. And they were just jamming, and Ringo, God bless him, had to play through those things and make it musical. So yeah, that's a good question. I'd love to be able to ask John anything.
What band that you've played in had the weirdest writer?
The weirdest writer or writer?
Writer.
Rider, like the
right,
the backstage.
Well, I wish I had like a Van Halen Eminem story for you or something. But I think they're all weird, man. I mean, the crazy thing is these writers are, in the old days, I know the excess 80s and 90s of having so much, and then you leave and it's still there and you've never touched it. I'm still amazed when I go backstage in the last 10 years, there's all this food, and hopefully at the end of the day, they take it to a food bank or something and do something with it, because it's just, in a time where everybody's buckling their, nobody's buying tickets for shows and music business is so crazy. I'm amazed that they still have writers, and they're all like, all these crazy juices and fruit and meat and crazy stuff. And I mean, I don't really have a particular writer, not that I can think of, not off the top of my head, but that's a funny question. I can make something up. Why don't I make something up? They had tarantulas at this one writer. I don't like those. Okay, there it is. Sorry.
I love it.
Hey man, I would love to talk forever to you, but I know you gotta be respectful of your time. Come back and just talk about your amazing career. So my final question is, would you ever write a book about your career?
Well, I'm on. Thanks for saying that. It's nice of you. Somebody brought that up to my brother and I about it, writing something. I mean, I would think that's presumptuous for myself because I don't really see that as being that interesting. I mean, we've really been blessed to play with a lot of characters and a lot of really talented, cool musicians. A lot of the stuff I would never even be able to say, probably, because, some people we worked with, we've had to sign papers that you can't talk about it, because they just don't want to get, something down the road. So respecting that, it's like nobody really wants to read anything unless there's like a Dennis Rodman crazy, tell all, this guy did this. And I don't have any axe to grind with anybody I've worked with because they've all been gems, I don't have any dirt sells, and I don't know if these nice stories would really be entertaining in the climate that we're in now, where people need to get some kind of juice, I mean, I would like to, Greg and I talked last night about how fortunate we've been. We feel like God's blessed us so much to put us in these positions to play with these people. Like Brian Wilson just passed away, and I remember doing a session with him in LA, and he was there, and I'm warming up, and he taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Hey, Matt, I play bass too," and I'm like, Brian Wilson, man, from the Beach Boys, and like Jeff Lynne from ELO. I'm listening when we're playing with ELO. I'm listening in my in-ears, and it's like, I've played those songs with cover bands with guys that try and sound like Jeff Lynne. Now Jeff Lynne is right in front of me singing, And I get goosebumps even thinking about it, because when I hear his voice, I'm like going, that's the guy. I grew up listening to that guy, and I'm here right now. So that stuff, man, is just, I don't even know if it would be that interesting to anybody else, but Greg and I were just talking about how crazy it is when that happens. And two kids from Detroit that just started playing, when they're young for fun, to get those opportunities. I'm definitely thankful that they happened. There's nothing that we did. It just, things just kind of happened. So just thankful, if I would write a book, it would be just thanking God for everything that he's done, because it's pretty amazing.
And we're incredibly thankful for you taking some time out of this evening to hang with us there, Matt. And a final question from me, because I just think it's so cool and very interesting at the same time, is you've gotten to play on TV shows, on themes for TV shows, which is just incredible, because you hear these songs, every week, sometimes multiple times a week, depending on how the show is shown when it's original versus syndication. And of course, one of those being Friends, because everybody knows that theme. How did that opportunity come around, you getting to play the theme song for Friends?
When I first moved out to LA, it was kind of the thing was to, try and get into doing commercials and TV shows and stuff. I remember working with Disney all the time. You go in there, you read the chart, you're in and out, you do like 4 sessions a day, and it was a different time, and then things started getting more low stream as far as budgets and stuff. And our friend Michael Skloth, who was married to the creator of Friends, got the gig to write the music. And he called us up to play. And so we played the bumper music in between. He wrote the song, the theme song, with the band. I can't remember the name of the band. What is it? Yeah, right. So he wrote that song with them. So he needed to write music, bumper music, for all the scenes. So we just kind of started going, okay. So we'd go there, and he'd go, it was me, it was Greg and I, Rocket Rashad, James Hara, and two guitar players. And we would just look at each other and go, all right, how about we need a 5-second clip? What about, and we'd sing it, and we go, okay, and then they'd figure out 2 different guitar parts, and then we'd record it, and then we'd listen to it, and we go, oh, that's good, let's go eat. So we'd go eat something. Total party. We're just laughing the whole time. There's a thing on YouTube, if you look at it, called The Last Friends Session. And it's the last show we ever did recording Friends. And it kind of shows what we did. It really was just a bunch of guys jamming. Sometimes Michael would have charts and have some things, very rarely, but he would have an idea. He'd sing it, we'd play it, try and make it like whatever relevant music was going on at the time. And then it was just one of those things that I didn't even know was happening at the time, that 25 years later, that would be one of our biggest paydays every year. So every year, July 1st, we get these checks from the playlist. And I look at it like 1989, 70, or whatever it is, 1999. We did it for 8 years, and it shows how much you made that year. And I'm like, this paid better than any gig I've ever had in my life. And then I started thinking about, what is Jennifer Aniston making on this show? What are these guys? What's Ross making? What are these guys? It must be bazillion, like Seinfeld money. I mean, it's like they must be through SAG and all that stuff. So that was one of the best paying gigs I've ever done. And that's why when you get called to do something, you just do it. You just go and show up, and you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, that show was kind of freaky. But we've done a bunch of other shows and stuff, but nothing compares to that one.
Oh man, that's so cool for sure, man. But Matt, thank you. What's up, Angel?
That in itself is a great book to write.
There you go.
I'll write it if you read it.
Oh yeah, a tale between friends.
A tale between friends. A tale between friends.
Just want to send a happy birthday to Bobby. It was yesterday. Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday, Bobby. We're all celebrating birthdays on this episode.
Come on, let's go. Coffee.
Exactly. Yes, always.
That's what I need.
Thank you so much, man, for hanging out with us this evening and giving us a couple of extra minutes as well, man. The thing that is always
bless
the
you
most
guys.
important to myself and Angel, is that you enjoyed yourself on the show. You felt
yeah.
respected. You had a good time, and you felt that in any way, this could be beneficial, whether for an upcoming tour, the stuff involving the squirts, but first and foremost, of course, that you enjoyed your time on the show.
Well, you guys are great, man. You guys are fun, and I had a lot of fun with both of you. You're very cool guys. And,
Thanks
and
so
my girlfriend's cool too. Let's go.
Oh, thank you. He's the best.
All right, guys.
But Matt, thank you guys so much.
Thank
Metal
you,
Summoners, we appreciate you guys so much. Make sure that you're following Matt with everything he's doing with the Kevin Cronin band, with the new single, The Other Side of Paradise that came out with the Squirts, and everything. He's got such an amazing musical catalog that you guys can go check out, as well as keeping track with everything that he's got going on present and then coming up in the future. Metal Summoners, we love you guys to death. Make sure you're following Matt on all of his socials. You can follow Angel at Angel Alamo78 on Instagram. You can also find him on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram at Salem.vampire. I can also be found on Facebook as well under that moniker. And also our behind-the-scenes guy, Psycho Steve. You can follow him at The Real Psycho Steve on Instagram, as well as PsychoStevePresents.com. Again, please make sure that you're following the Metal Summit on both Facebook and YouTube, because that's where you're watching Matt right now. That's where this interview took place. But if you like everything that we do and you want to know about what we've got going on first and foremost, please make sure that you're following the Instagram page, because that's where all of our announcements come out first and foremost. Again, on behalf of the Metal Summit, myself and Angel, and on behalf of the great Nat Bissonette, we really appreciate him hanging out with us. Metal Summoners, we love you guys. Guest announcement over the weekend for next week's episode, and we will see you guys in a week. Take care, be good to each other, and have yourselves an absolutely fantastic weekend, and drink lots and lots of coffee. As always,